Maybe you've tried doing a lunge before and it went something like this. Uh-oh, that doesn't sound right. It's likely you're making at least one of these 3 big lunge mistakes that I'll show you in this video. Keep watching, and I'll make sure you know how to do a lunge with perfect form so you can strengthen your legs and work those buns out the right way. Hey there, Coach Tyler here, and today is all about lunges. How to do lunges with perfect form and how to approach lunges even if you're a complete beginner. You see, lunges are one of the best lower body exercises in the world, and yet most people do them with terrible form. In fact, there's 3 big lunge mistakes that most people make that you'll want to avoid. Because when you make any one of these mistakes, you can hurt your knee joint, you can flare up your lower back, and even cause muscle imbalances that can make the rest of your body feel achy too. So, what are those 3 big lunge mistakes? How do you lunge with perfect form, even if you're a complete beginner? And what are the best lunge variations that you can use to continuously make progress? Well, let's start by sharing the 3 big lunge mistakes with you. And then I'll follow that up with the 7 steps to doing a lunge with perfect form and share some of my favorite lunge variations with you. Part 1, the 3 big lunge mistakes. Okay, there are 3 big mistakes that I often see people doing when they do the lunge. Each of these mistakes is going to put pressure on your joints in a way that is not going to help you, but could potentially harm you. So I'm gonna show you these 3 mistakes right now that you're gonna want to avoid, okay? Mistake number 1 is when you're lunging and you're pressing back up to the top position like this, that the weight is on your toes. So if you feel the weight on your toes as you lunge, instead of your heel, you're putting all of the pressure on your knee joint and quad instead of on your hamstring and your glutes. So don't put your weight on your front toe as you're doing the lunge. Mistake number 2 is that your knee is not stable. So when people do the lunge, oftentimes when they stand back up, you can see their knee cave in like this. The knee is a hinge joint. It's only supposed to go open and close. It's not supposed to go from side to side like this. So as you come down and up in the lunge, look down at your femur, your thigh bone, and make sure that your leg is going the same direction as your toes. If it's pointing outside your toes, on either side, you're putting your knee joint at risk. So make sure your knee is stable and make sure that knee is going the same direction as your toes. Mistake number 3 is not properly using your glute muscles. So when you're in the lunge, as you come to press up, as you come to stand up from the lunge, instead of thinking about extending your knee like this and using your quad muscle, you want to think about extending your hip like this and using your glute and your hamstring. So while you're in this position, think about extending your hip by using this glute muscle right here to achieve the top position. If you use mostly quad muscles, you're gonna put more pressure on your knee that you need to, and you're not gonna work all of those muscles out at the same time. Before I share the 7 steps to doing a lunge with perfect form, I wanted to ask you for a quick favor. If you're enjoying this content and want to see more of it, hit the subscribe button and click the little bell icon so you can get an update every time we release a brand new video like this. It helps us get noticed more, and our videos will help you transform your body faster. Okay, let's go over the 7 steps that you can use to do lunges with perfect form. Part 2, 7 steps to do lunges with perfect form. Okay, there are 7 things that you want to focus on in order to do a lunge with perfect form. So I'm gonna walk you through all 7 of these things so you can think about them every time you're practicing any variation of the lunge, okay? The first thing to focus on is your front foot. So if I'm in a lunge position like this, most people will have a tendency to wanna go up on your toes like this. This is one of the big mistakes that people do. And so bringing your foot flat onto the ground, but not just flat, putting about 70% of the weight on your heels and about 30% on your toes, and keeping the outside of your foot, your big toe pad, and your heel pressing the ground the entire time is extremely important. When you do this, it will help you with some of the other things that I'm about to share with you. So, foot flat on the ground, 70% heel, 30% toes, 3 points of alignment. From there, The next thing to think about is your front knee. As you're doing the lunge, when you go up and down, you wanna make sure that your knee is going the same direction as your toes. If it's coming in or going out, you're gonna put pressure on the inside or the outside of your knee joint, which can cause injury in the long run. So make sure you look down, knees going the same direction as your toes the entire time. Now let's talk about hip position. This is another area where people have an issue. Oftentimes, they're going to be opened like this instead of straight forward, or their pelvis is going to be wiggled from side to side like this. So why it's really good for you to hold your hips in the lunge is to make sure that your pelvis is straight forward and that is balanced from side to side. So as you do each rep, try to feel your hips stay in one place and don't let them tip or twist on every single rep. Now, the next part is your core. During every exercise, it's a good idea to really squeeze your core muscles. To do this, I like to teach people to basically hold a cough. So go, that tension right there is what you wanna hold as you do every single lunge. So practice holding that tension in your core. You can even feel it with your fingers if you need to, as you go back and forth in the lunge. Okay, the next piece is that you're using your glutes effectively. So when people do the lunge, they often come forward, and then when they push back to the start position, that's when they put the weight on their toes and they use this quad, the front of the leg, to extend the knee instead of the glute, the back of the leg, to extend the hips. So in order to do this, you can practice the reverse lunge and you can really focus on pushing into your heel. So drive into your heel, make sure your knee's not going forward over your toes, and extend the hip to the top position. The slower you practice that part where you're fully extending the hip, the more you're gonna activate your glutes, which means you're gonna protect your lower back and you're gonna shape those bun muscles at the same time. Okay, the next piece is the back knee. So we talked about how the front knee needs to go the same direction as the toes. Well, the back knee needs to do the same thing. A big mistake people make that causes their back knee to cave in is they try to do a lunge in one line like this, like they're standing on a balance beam. But what you actually want is you want your feet to still be hip width apart, so your legs are on two parallel lines, and that's gonna help you have better balance. So with that back knee, what you wanna think about is if you have a parallel line that runs straight forward from these toes, that back knee is gonna come down and it's gonna tap that parallel line. Don't let that knee come out like this, and more commonly, don't let the knee go in like this. Final piece is the back foot. So this is gonna help that back knee. As the back foot is going up and down like this, people have a tendency to either let it rest to the outside, which is gonna put pressure on your ankle and knee, let it rest to the inside, again, pressure on your ankle and knee, and sometimes people have a tendency to stand up from the lunge with their foot placed down like this. Always keep your toes tucked and the ball of your feet pressing into the ground as you do every single lunge that you practice, okay? So those are the 7 things you wanna focus on to do lunges with perfect form. Front foot, front knee, making sure your hips are balanced and in a good position. Your core is active. You're using your glutes to stand up. Your back knee is going straight and your back foot is pointing straight as well. Before I share those 4 different lunge variations with you, I wanted to mention that if you like the way we break down form on every exercise, then make sure you click the link in the description below or check out warriormade.com to try our Form First home workouts for free. Inside, you'll get follow-along workouts that you can do from the comfort of your own home. Every workout is complete with specific form cues for your unique level. This way, you can lose weight and gain strength and confidence in a way that feels safe and doesn't risk you getting injured. Just click the link below, either now or after you finish this video, and you can try it for free. Part 3, best lunge variations. The best place to start with a lunge is called the reverse lunge. This is a great exercise because it helps you address some of the 3 mistakes that I already shared with you. When you do the reverse lunge, you're gonna start with your feet right underneath your hips, toes facing straight forward, and it's helpful to put your hands on your hips unless you need them for support for balance. From there, instead of lunging forward, you're gonna take a step backwards and you're gonna drop that back knee down and you're gonna press into the front heel and stand yourself back up to the top position. On every rep, you're gonna wanna alternate sides as you go from side to side. Another thing you want to focus on is making sure that you have all the key points of perfect form that I'm going to share with you in a sec. If this feels too hard or too easy, try one of the next variations that I'll share with you. Okay, for an easy variation of the lunge, try the reverse half lunge. To do this exercise, stand with your feet facing straight forward and your feet right underneath your hips. From there, put your hands on your hips unless you need them for support. Come back into a lunge stance. And this time, just come halfway down until your knee is hovering above the ground. Press into that front heel and stand back up and alternate legs on each rep. So all you're doing is coming halfway down and coming back up, making sure to do slow and controlled reps and focus on perfect form. If this is still too hard for you, you can try a different variation. For the easiest variation of the lunge, try the supported reverse half lunge. Now you can do this exercise either with a chair or something sturdy next to you, or you can simply put your hands on your own leg. To do this exercise, you're gonna bring your feet straight forward, right underneath your hips. Instead of having your hands on your hips, you're gonna put your hands on your thigh as you step back into the lunge position. From there, use your hands for support or balance, come halfway down, stand back up using those same hands for support and balance. So keep that front foot flat, extend through the hips, move slow and controlled. You want to find your balance and coordination as you do this exercise. And again, if you still feel like you're not balanced, you can put a chair next to you or something a little bit wider to give you a larger base to support you. Now, if all these variations were way too easy, then try the next variation. For a harder variation, try the front lunge. To do the front lunge, you're gonna start with your feet right underneath your hips and toes facing forward. Place your hands on your hips, and this time you're gonna step out forward into the lunge position. You're gonna drop that knee, then you're gonna press into this heel and come back to the start position. You're gonna repeat on the other side, inhaling as you go down, exhaling as you go up, and making sure you practice with perfect form. If this is still too easy, I'm gonna show you another variation that's really gonna get your blood pumping. Okay, the hardest variation of the lunge that you can try is called the jump lunge. So, to do this exercise, you're gonna stand with your feet facing straight forward, and instead of stepping back to a lunge, you're gonna jump both feet out into a lunge position. At first, you can do this slow and controlled, and as you get better, you can do it faster and faster. So it looks like this. You're gonna inhale, jump down into a lunge position, exhale, jump your feet together. Inhale, lunge position, exhale, feet together. As you get better at this and you feel stable and you feel like all the points of alignment are in place, you can go from side to side and you can start going faster and faster, which is one of the best exercises for getting your heart rate through the roof while working your lower body. That looks like this. So, as you can see, doing jump lunges is one of the best variations to get you results. Okay, awesome job digesting all of this information on the lunge. The big thing that you want to remember from this video is to not make the 3 big lunge mistakes. And regardless of what variation of the lunge you choose, you should be thinking of the 7 steps to making sure you do every rep with perfect form. And this is important because I always say that form is first and intensity is second. And when you follow this rule, you'll get better results in the long run, your body will feel better, and you'll reduce your chances of causing unnecessary aches and pains or even getting injured. So form first, intensity second. Oh, and if you like the tips I just gave you on the lunge, make sure you watch our next video right here, where I'll break down how to do a squat with perfect form and give you a follow-along workout that you can use to work that lower body hard, all while burning fat faster. Just click the link right here, and I'll see you there.